independence to civil war. Come here for just a second. I want you to imagine something. It is October 1st, 1960, right here in Lagos. The air is thick with the smell of rain and salt from the Atlantic. But underneath it all, there is this buzz, this feeling. It's a feeling of pure, uncut hope. After decades after the British rule, Nigeria is finally free. The green and white flag is flying high. And man, people are celebrating in the streets. There's dancing, there's music. It's the birth of a dream of a great, powerful nation, the giant of Africa. Finally standing on its own 2 feet. You feel that? The joy, the absolute unshakable belief that anything is possible. Good. Hold on to that feeling tight, because we're about to watch that dream die. And it is not going to die slowly. It is going to be murdered. In just 7 years, this nation, born with so much promise, will tear itself apart. The dancing will stop. The music will be drowned out by the sound of guns. Brother will turn against brother. How? How does it all go wrong so fast? That is the story I want to tell you. It is a story about big men with big ambitions. A foundation built on sand and a series of wrong turns that led to a place no one wanted to go. Buckle up. So you have this brand new country, but you have to understand, Nigeria was not built. It was assembled by the British. They took over 250 different ethnic groups, people with different languages, different histories, and drew a line around them and said, you are now one country. And to manage it all, they propped up 3 main power blocks, each built around one of the biggest ethnic groups. Up north, the massive Hausa Fulani region, led by the powerful Sardauna Ahmadu Bello. In the west, the Yoruba people, led by the brilliant Obafemi Awolowo. And in the east, the Igbo people, led by the charismatic Nnamdi Azikiwe, or Zik. These 3 men were giants. But the system they inherited forced them to be rivals. The north had the population to dominate politics forever. The west and east had the education and economic hustle. It was a political three-way tug of war from day one. They smiled and shook hands for the independence photos, but behind the scenes, the game was already on. So, see what I mean? Each one was a king in his own kingdom, and they were all trying to share a single home. And that is when the trouble really starts, because the smiles faded fast. First, the government in the north used its federal powers to smash the opposition party in the west. Politics. Then came census, a head count. Sounds simple, right? Wrong. In Nigeria, a head count is a power count. The numbers came out and they just did not add up. Everyone screamed, rigged, trust gone, poof, out of the window. Then came the elections. And oh my God, they were not elections. They were wars, rigging, violence, people getting burned alive. It was chaos. The pressure builds and builds and builds. You can just feel the ground shaking. The dream is starting to look like a fever. And then we got to 1966. This is the year. The dream is shattered into a million pieces. January 15th, in the dead of the night, a handful of young, idealistic and angry army majors decided they have had enough of the corrupt politicians. They launch a coup. It is swift. It is brutal. They find the prime minister and kill him. They go to the Sardauna's house in the north and they kill him. They kill politicians, senior army officers. It was a bloody night. But here's the thing. The coup plotters, mostly Igbo, and the politicians they killed, mostly from the north and west. And when the dust settles, the man who takes charge of the country is the head of the army, General Aguiyi Ironsi, who is also Igbo. Now, it does not matter what the majors intended. It does not matter if they were patriots or not. All the North could see was that their leaders had been murdered and that Igbo was now in charge. To them, it was not a revolution, it was a conquest. The anger in the North, it was a living, breathing thing. A fire waiting for a spark. And then Ironsi gives them the spark. He makes a catastrophic error. He gets on the radio and announces Decree 34. He says Nigeria is no longer a federation of strong regions. It is now one single unified state, all run from the top. He thought it will unite the country. What it did was sign his own death warrant. To the north, this was the final proof. This was the Igbo plan all along. Kill their leaders, then erase ways of life. July 29th, 1966. The revenge comes. Northern soldiers rise up. It's a counter coup, and it is savage. They find Ironsi, torture him, and they kill him. Then they go after every Igbo soldier they can find. It is a massacre. But it gets worse. The hate spills out of the barracks. In towns and cities across the north, mobs descend on Igbo civilians who had lived there for generations as merchants and workers. They are hunted in the streets. Men, women, children slaughtered. It was a horror, a storm of ethnic hatred that sent hundreds of thousands of terrified, traumatized Igbos fleeing back to their homeland in the east, with nothing but the clothes on their backs and stories of unspeakable violence. The Nigerian army was broken. The nation was broken. The dream was now a river of blood. So what happens now? What happens when a part of your country has seen its people massacred? The East is now a giant refugee camp filled with heartbroken and furious people. Their leader, the military governor, a proud Sanders-educated man named Ojukwu, looks at the situation and thinks, how can my people ever be safe in this country again? The new leader of Nigeria, a young officer named Yakubu Gowon, is desperately trying to hold things together. We're all still Nigerians, he says. But in the East, the word Nigerian now tastes like ash. They try to talk, but there is no trust left. It is a marriage where a terrible betrayal has happened. The love is gone. All that is left is suspicion and pain. Then Gowon makes his final move. He plays his trump card. Look at the map. He knows the East is thinking about leaving. And he knows the East has all the new oil that has just been discovered. So he redraws the map of Nigeria. Bam! 12 new states. He carves up the country. And he very cleverly carves up the eastern region, cutting Igbo heartland off from the coast, off from the oil. It was a masterstroke of political chess. But for Ojukwu, it was a declaration of war. It was strangling them before they could even breathe. He felt he had no choice left. On May 30th, 1967, Ojukwu gets on the radio, and with the full-throated roar of his people behind him, he declares the eastern region to be a new independent country, the Republic of Biafra. For Igbos, it was their own Independence Day, a declaration of survival. From the rest of Nigeria, it was rebellion. It was the one thing that could not be allowed. The lines were drawn. The talking was over. The war was on. And so it began. A war that would last for 3 years and would starve 1 million people to death. A war that would leave scars on the soul of this nation that have never, ever truly healed. The ghosts of this story are everywhere in Nigeria today. So if you're watching this video wherever you are in Nigeria or abroad, I can tell you, the argument we have today are the same arguments they were having back then. The fight about which region gets the presidency. This is the ghost of Ahmadu Bello and Zik. The struggle over who controls the oil money. This is the ghost of Gowon redrawing the map. The deep, lingering suspicion between ethnic groups. This is the ghost of 1966. The story of Nigeria from 1960 to 1967 is more than just history. It's a human tragedy. It's a story about how easily a beautiful dream can become a nightmare. And it is a warning. A warning that echoes right down to this very day. Did you enjoy this story? I have many more for you on YouTube at Popcentral TV, or check our quick article and Instagram carousel for a fast breakdown. Go deeper with our interactive web analysis, or download full research PDFs at popcentraltv.com. I'm Olayinka Obebe, bringing you Newsense every day on Popcentral, DStv 189. Follow us everywhere: TikTok, Instagram, X. Ask me to explain anything. Stay sharp.
Just so you know, this is for information only and not advice. Some details or policies might have changed by the time you're watching this.